It's Saturday night. I actually spent most of the day like doing, I guess, like productive stuff for the most part. Because what happened was I went to lots of classes on Thursday. So I took like both Thursday and Friday as an off day. And next week is when we actually have our finals. I have 3 finals. Tuesday is organic chemistry. Wednesday, physics. Thursday, Excel bio. And I just found that out today because I actually thought that Tuesday was physics. Because like normally when we have our physics exam, it's on a Tuesday. So that kind of like messed me up there. But now I like have a schedule in my head for the most part. It means I basically have like 2-3 more days to study for my first final, which will be organic chemistry on Tuesday night. I think like 6 to 8 p.m. All of my notes are in the p.m. times. I'm pretty sure it's like 6 to 8 p.m. I didn't feel like studying organic chemistry like, while I was awake. So I at least decided, studying for a different subject. Even though it's not like, well, come first, like, in my exam list, it's better than like not doing anything at all or like taking longer to find the motivation to study for organic chemistry. So today what I did was I focused on finally getting down my lecture notes from cell bio because I skipped those lectures and only rewatch a 1 hour 15-minute video like at the end of the week. Kind of crazy, especially since it's this 1 hour 15-minute video. That kind of kills me, but I finally got that done today, took notes on that. At least now I finally have all the notes for that. And when I looked at the exam, like the project exam for that class, cell bio, the question started to make more sense now that I actually have like all the knowledge that will be on the exam. I mean, I still couldn't answer the questions, but at least like the questions look familiar now. Alright, and after that was when I moved on to physics. By the way, I took a bunch of breaks in between. Like, TikTok breaks, phone breaks, searching up like questions that just popped in my head type break. I moved on to physics because, like I said, I initially thought that it was the first exam of, next week, but it's not, it's the second one. But still, I'm still gonna do it because that's what I have the motivation to do right now. So I'm currently working on, like, I guess being able to understand and answer questions about the concepts. Because I'm trying to end the year off with bang, finish out great. In terms of physics, what I'm doing right now is I'm watching a video that one of our TFs made to help us with the content review for something I'll be on the quiz, and it is very much making sense, which is good. Because like sometimes like when I have a lot to do, I end up like panicking and not doing much or like wondering what I need to prioritize. So I'm glad that I'm not wasting my time looking at videos that won't help me, that I found a video that seems like it will be very much helpful. And after that, right now I'm just watching part 1 of the content review video, so I'm gonna watch part 2 after that. I'm gonna see what else they have put up in like the recommended sources for studying for quiz 5, physics quiz 5, like little posts. Right now it's already night. What time specifically? It's 9:22, and I also want to shower at some point. And I'm not sure what time I'll sleep. Like last night I slept around 2-3 a.m. and I'm still not tired for the most part. I mean, my voice might sound a little tired, but I'm not like tired, just that I've been inside for most of the day. But it was lovely earlier today, a little windy but lovely. I went out for a bit. Yeah, after that, I do, like I said, go back to the physics books about their helpful links and stuff. Like, see what they have up there, like, watch more videos on that type of stuff, be able to answer some questions. And then I'll try and lock in with organic chemistry, realizing that I have, like, 3 days to study for that, because, I have the rest of tonight, Sunday, Monday, then, like, some of Tuesday to study for that. So I definitely want to work on that. And because, like, for organic chemistry exam is cumulative, so it's all the stuff from not only like this school year but also like not only from this semester but also last semester. It's both sequences of organic chemistry, so I have to basically be prepared for wherever you'll throw our way. And based on the past exam, like a cumulative organic chemistry exam from last semester, they tend to pick out, well, for one thing, like what we most recently learned, but also like questions that like a bunch of people got wrong in previous exams. So I'm not even sure what it is like this time, because sometimes our TF will tell us during discussion like, oh, this is something that like most people got wrong. Let me show you how it's done on the board, and like we see how it's done. But this time, I think he might have mentioned like the commonly wrong questions a few times, but I didn't really pay attention. But I'll just like look over also like I can be prepared for whatever comes my way and whatnot. Yeah. So today seems like it'll be a day to get in like a bit of all 3 subjects that I have an exam on. Already got cell bio down for the most part. I still need to work on that, of course. Physics, doing that right now. Organic chemistry, gonna do that tonight. Just gonna try and be able to answer some predicted product type of questions. Kind of sucks that I'll have to lock in and be focused on, having to deal with 3 exams in 1 week. because about a couple of days ago, I was talking with one of my friends and I said that I wanted to see her in person before I left to go home, when finals are done and everything. Because she lives around the area, whereas I live 2.5 hours away, when school ends and everything. So I was like, yo, we should hang out at some point, in person before the semester ends and whatnot. She was like, yeah. But the problem is that now that I realize like how close I am to my finals and how I've, finals day after day after day, that I'm leaving like pretty much right after my last final, I make me realize I most likely won't have time to hang out with her in person unless she makes the initiative first. Like if she's the one who like hits me up first, it's like, yo, you want to hang out this specific day or whatnot? Nah, I think I'll take up the offer. But if I have to be the one to like extend the handout first and like ask her, I don't think I'll do it because like I'm thinking, what should I do? Hang with the homie or study though I feel more confident for the exam, and I'll choose to study unless she reaches out first. It won't be too bad because, we have each other's numbers, so a phone call will have to suffice, I guess. It would always be nice to see her in person, but we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping that I don't break out from the stress, because when I tend to get stressed, tend to break out as well, and I don't want to break out. It closed about 1:45, and I ended up going out to get some outside food, because dining halls, they close at around 9 p.m., and, especially since it's finals week, and, last week of, I guess, school in general, they're going to be closing earlier. At one point, I think that the earliest that it was, 7:30, but I digress. I'm gonna say that I just got some food. I got some insomnia cookies. Only one cookie. It's the chocolate peanut butter deluxe cookie. And then I also got something from Domino's, a 16-piece Parmesan bite, but, with no extra sauces, because sauces, the price that I think was, 70 cents for, the sauce packet thing. I said, I'll just eat it plain. I've had it before and it's pretty good by itself. Oh yeah, I just got those two. So that's gonna be my midnight feast, I guess. I tend to buy more outside food during final season because, for one thing, I'm staying up later. But I tend to stay up late. I mean, I always stay up late, but having to stay up late and study makes me feel like I should get a reward for all the studying I'm doing. So I kind of buying outside food more often. And also because, what was my second reason? Hold on. Oh yeah, because I find it hard to go to bed when my mind is still racing with thinking of what I have to do for my classes and upcoming exams. So yeah, that's why I can stay up later. Because once I finally get to bed, that's when I'm trying to rewind, think about what concepts I learned today, equations, that kind of stuff, tie it in all together, mentally quiz myself. Then if I start to realize that if I still don't know a good amount of stuff, there's a limited amount of time left, that's when panic, heart rate goes up, and it gets harder to sleep. So yeah, I don't know how late I'll stay up tonight, but the problem with staying up late is that, also waking up late. And I've said this multiple times before, I kind of wake up when the sun also wakes up. So once the sun's already out, it's harder for me to go back to sleep after waking up. But yeah, I don't know what time I'll sleep. I'll aim for maybe 2-3 a.m. That's not bad. As I wait for my laptop to boot up and get connected to the internet and everything. Yeah, still not connected yet. I was wait, let me double check in case it's already there. But let me give you all the update. It's Sunday. It's about to be 2 p.m. and I'm finally about to get started on something academic related for the day. Also, I have the windows, the curtains drawn back. That's why, we have that natural sunlight over there. It's gonna rain soon, within an hour. I can tell by, the sky, clouds darkening. I was wait, let me check the weather app, because it seems likely. So I checked, and, yeah, I said that in the next hour, the rain will begin. And the ground already looks wet, but also, it did rain yesterday, so it could be, that. But anyways, my laptop's connected to the internet now. That's good. So the plan for today is to do a bit of everything again, but with more focus on organic chemistry, because that's the first exam that I have of the week. I'm not really the type of person to tie myself into a schedule, and the type of schedule where it's from 1 to 2 p.m. do this item, from 2 to 3 p.m. do this, from 3 to 4. I can't do that type of schedule. So I either just try to set goals as in something by the end of the day I want to complete this, or I just felt maybe a general time range, okay, maybe around this time I see how I'm doing, see if I want to continue with that subject or move on to something, that kind of schedule. I'll start off with some physics, because I know that last night before I went to bed I was okay, I was running in my mind what do I know, what do I still not know, that kind of stuff. And I was okay, wait, I'm not sure how to determine the distance between two sources when it comes to I don't know what's called, like two sources of like interference or something like that, or like waves or light. I don't know, something like that. But long story short, I don't know how to determine that, the distance between. I'm like, okay, yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna start the day off with physics. That's what I feel like I'm most motivated to do right now out of my 3 subjects, you know. Oh, someone's carrying an umbrella outside. It hasn't started raining yet. So I'm gonna start with that, and after that, I'll move on to cell bio because I don't want to do an office setting like, you know, last minute. So I'm not entirely sure. Because I know that for cell bio, it is not open book, and it comes down to memorization. That's like knowing how things work. So I guess I'll start back at like what was done at the beginning of the unit, and then try to get that down or something. I don't know. And then the end of the night, or the rest of the night, or whatever, will be spent during organic chemistry. I made great progress on organic chemistry last night. Like, what I'm doing so far is my plan to look at the discussion worksheet answers to just review, like, what we learned so far this semester. And then, like, to actually practice the problems using the homework practice problems. Because, you know, like, sometimes you think that the mechanism or whatever looks easy, right? But then when it's time for you to actually do it without looking at your notes or anything, you're like, wait, hold on, I have questions. Or like, wait, which one attacks? Or like, which one, you know, doing it with electrons, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my plan. And also looking back at past quizzes and practice exams for sure. Because like the exams tend to have like harder questions or like a more confusing structure that make me go, what the heck? So yeah, I definitely want to look back at that, especially since like past exam questions, the ones that like most people had a hard time with, can make a comeback for sure. So yeah, I'm not even sure what time I'll eat because I have not had food yet except for like a few sips of like water or juice. I'm not sure when I'll eat, but like it depends. Like maybe I'll use food as like, you know, my break point. So, you know, I'll do some physics first, and like, you know, once I'm like, okay, I need a break, like that's when I'll go eat, and then like come back, do cell bio, and then like we'll go from there. And this time, in order to prevent having to buy, like, you know, late night food, I'm gonna, like, once I go to the dining hall for dinner, so, you know, around, like, 8 p.m., because they close at 9 p.m., I'm gonna take back with me a sandwich. Like, I've done it a few times, but, like, I'm gonna tire myself of eating sandwiches. Because I did that for, like, 3 days in a row, like, just eating sandwiches from the dining hall. So I'm like, yeah, I'm scared I'm gonna tire myself from, like, I remember that at one point I was also obsessed with their burritos, and, like, I'm kind of, like, tired of it. So I don't want anything to happen to sandwiches just there. Or maybe I don't care because, you know, the end of the semester is already coming. So like even if I tire myself up, I'll go like 4 months without it before, you know, I'm back here again. But anyways, like let me stop yapping and finally try and do some studying. Alright, so a little after 4 p.m. I'm still working on physics and physics related stuff. I'm gonna go stop to go grab a bite at the dining hall because they changed the dinner menu at 5 p.m. I'm like, yeah, let me, you know, eat something. So that way when I go again, I'm not eating like the same food, you know, twice. Possibly they have. But so far I've been making like pretty good progress. I mean, for all it has been like 2 hours ever since I last spoke to you guys. Was definitely distracted by TikTok, my phone, and other stuff. But overall, I made pretty good progress. I'm about halfway with my, I guess, like, reviewing for physics. I'm not sure if I want to like do all of my review today, which will make it easier for, you know, the future. And I should also be focusing on my other subjects as well. So I think that what I'll do is I'll finish my review for like the first half of the unit, which I believe is actually more than a half technically. I believe it's like more bigger, more content heavy, more content rich than like the second half. Like the second half was like in a way sort of like all over the place. So it seemed like pretty understandable for the most part. So I don't know, like I'll see. But for the most part, I just want to finish this like unit 1, not even like unit 1 technically, but whatever unit is, that type of content review, and then move on to my other subjects. When I get back, I'll most likely tie up loose ends with physics and then move on to cell bio, because the way I barely know, I mean, I kind of do know what's going on in that class, but like when I look at the practice exam for that, I'm like, yeah, I can't really explain it in depth. So I might go through you know, look back at my notes, look back at the PowerPoint presentation, and be able to, you know, be able to explain the stuff like more in depth, I guess. And after that, I don't know when I'll finish that, but then like spend the rest of the night doing organic chemistry. I'm not sure what time I'll sleep again. Could be like similar to last night, like, you know, 2-3 a.m. It's a little past 8:30 and I've got to go because dining hall closes at 9. The last meal was like the one where I last spoke to you guys. when I think it was like around 4 p.m. The food was alright. Like once I was walking back, I was already hungry again, which reminded me of like one of my more big bag moments, which is when I've ate at one dining hall, right? And I took the bus to go to a different dining hall to eat again at that dining hall. Yeah, that's how I felt, because I didn't feel like actually going all the distance to a different dining hall. I just took the L, came back, and here I am. If you see something green on my face, that's from my store projector. But anyways, like once I got back, I also washed my hair. That's why it looks a little frazzled. It's still damp, not gonna lie. But I watched it. I redid a few twists in the back. Cause I do not want to redo the whole thing. For one, because it's not even that bad for real. Kind of looks like I could be somewhere in the dread journey. I don't know. But anyways, I'm gonna leave and go eat pretty soon, and maybe bring a sandwich back. Cause I'm not sure if I'll stay up late again or not. Cause like while I was studying, I was like starting to get tired. But it wasn't tired enough for me to like actually go to bed. Just enough for me to be like, I think I'm kind of bored of this. But yeah, today, it's like up to this time was mostly spent doing physics and cell bio. Like literally, I told myself like, okay, let me finish reviewing cell bio before I head on out to go grab dinner. So that's what I did. I reviewed the entire unit where we'll be on the exam. And so yeah, I'm gonna leave now because now I actually won't have time to eat without overstaying my welcome there. And then I want to check out like the practice quiz questions to have an idea of, I guess, like what could be asked and whatnot. Because like while I was studying, I did glance at it and I was like, the fact that I have to memorize like the names of the specific protein is kind of crazy. Like if I was given like multiple choice, then like maybe my mind would be able to pick out the right one. If I have to dig out from my memory, that's a different story. But we'll see how that goes. And then if I'm still awake and whatnot, like after I come back from the dining hall, I plan on studying organic chemistry because, you know, that's the first quiz that I have of the week. And then for these two other subjects, you know, physics and cell bio, I think that I'll low-key put like a stop to it and study them like the night before the exam and like the day of the exam. That's my plan. I'm at the point where I'm debating sacrificing sleep in favor of having more study time. But hypothetically speaking, if I were to do that, I'll do it Monday night. Because like right now, I'm still at a point where like, you know, I can still get in both studying and sleep. But Monday night is like where I'll like really determine whether, you know, whether I just sacrifice one or the other. Because, you know, the first exam is on Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. But then it's like if I stay up late on Monday night, you know, sacrifice the sleep, stay up late and not get in like a full however many hours of sleep I'm supposed to get every night. And that means I'll have more time to study, which will leave me feeling more confident about the upcoming exam. But yeah, I'm about to head out. I don't think it's raining right now. But I'm about to go head out, eat dinner, bring back a sandwich most likely, then try and lock in with organic chemistry. Because like, even if I try to go back to sleep like after I come back from the dining hall, I know that my mind will be racing thinking about what's the class to study for like organic chemistry and like these other subjects. So like, you know, having that'll cause my heart to race, which will cause me to be unable to sleep. So I'm like, well, you know what? Let me not do that. Let me try and like lock in and feel more confident about my abilities and test taking skills for the next day. Yeah, do you guys like to lay the red, blue, purple type of color pattern with the green stars? It has like 4 different light settings. You can just do like full green, full blue, and mix of blue and green, and mix up for like, I think, I want to say red and green and like this current color, and then like there's one more, so I think like total of like 6-7 settings. But I'm just guessing at this point because, you know, I don't want to go back to studying for one, because it's been like a hot minute. Like I've mostly been staring at the screen all day, so it's nice to kind of just be able to yap in general. I am back from the dining hall. I didn't bring any food back with me because, you know, since I came late, there weren't that many options left, and the sandwich station was already closed. So I guess I'll have to survive on what snacks I have. But anyways, I'm gonna lock in with organic chemistry pretty soon. Yeah, but while I was at the dining hall, I was watching a YouTube video, and it was one of those like how to memorize stuff like efficiently or like quickly. So, you know, the video came to me at the right time. So I clicked on it, I watched it, and the video doesn't seem like super helpful for me having to memorize like cell bio, but I feel like some parts of it could help. So it wasn't like a waste of time, but also it wasn't like, you know, great investment of time either. It's a little past 6:30 p.m. of course. There hasn't been much like eventful stuff happening throughout the day, so I simply didn't record or post. But you know, it's Monday. I have the first of my exams tomorrow. tomorrow is Tuesday, which is when I have my organic chemistry exam. So today I've just been dedicating that to studying for organic chemistry. And I know that my main problem is synthesis questions, like when they give you the beginning reactants and the end product, and you have to figure out what reactants go in between. That's like one of my worst enemies. But the way that I've not been focused on that, so I've been focusing on, I guess, like for one thing, I guess like relearning the entirety of this semester's reactions and stuff and mechanisms and things of that nature. But also just doing predictive product, which is my favorite, because out of like the other stuff on the quiz, like that's kind of like in a way the easiest for me. Predictive product is when you have the reactants, or like when you have the start product or whatever, the start thing, and then the reactant thing, you have to, basically predict the product, the end piece. So I'm hoping that, the field will be able to carry, like if I know my predictive products, like I'm familiar with the reactants and like what they react with and whatnot, and like what they make, then like once I get to the synthesis questions, I can kind of use that reverse knowledge to kind of like figure it out. I don't know. But anyways, there's gonna be a Zoom review session held by 2 of the TFs at 7 p.m. for less than half an hour. And I'm not gonna lie, they do it like, I think the day before the exam. Yeah, the day before the exam each time. And the way that's always been godsend, every time they always get, that review before the quiz and be able to ask questions in live time. Amazing. I think it's supposed to originally last like maybe just 1-2 hours, but the way it goes on until like maybe 11 p.m. I knew you're starting at 7 p.m. Actually, sometimes it starts at 8 or 9 p.m. But the week goes on like longer than it should. They see people dropping off as time goes by because, people have stuff to do, like, they're tired, they've been on their screen for like an hour or two. So yeah, I'm glad to have that quiz review. In the meantime, before 7 o'clock strikes, I want to attempt a practice final exam because the teacher posts, or like the professor, I forgot that we use professors in college, not teachers, but like the professor posts about 2 practice final exams from previous years, so like literally what the previous class year had and like the one before that. So could be very much useful. Also, I don't know if the TFs have seen our final yet, because if they haven't, they could definitely drop those helpful hints or like really know what to focus on. But like, it's cumulative, so anything can happen. So I don't know. I'm trying to have like a game plan. So I guess for one thing, like when I started, I tried to write down stuff I still have questions about, so like, I can look back at it later on, like know what I really need to log in more with. But so like since the exam is tomorrow at 6 p.m, I kind of do have little time, nothing too crazy, because I also don't want to burn out myself before the actual exam, Because like once I'm burnt out, that's when I start making like stupid mistakes, so it takes me longer to do what would normally not take me as long. So yeah, before 7 p.m. strikes at night, hop on the Zoom call. I want to attempt a few questions from the practice final exam, because that's when they have like the different predictive product questions, right? But like, I guess like in mixed up order, like, I'll have a question from like maybe the beginning of the semester and like something from like end of the semester and like middle of the semester. So like having that mix up, all like mixed and jumbled up will like really prepare me for whatever, I guess. And then I also need to log in with the synthesis for sure, and like other stuff that I had trouble with in previous exams. But yeah, that's all for now. I may or may not talk to you guys before I go to bed tonight. But like for sure tomorrow at some point I'm gonna record something. Alright, I'm not even sure if I mentioned my strategy. My strategy so far has been looking through the discussion worksheets, mostly the predictive products, like I previously said, so that way I can kind of like relearn or like re-jog my memory of what I learned like weeks ago or months ago at this point. And then doing the first part of practice of like previous exams, specifically only the predictive product part. But I do glance at like the other parts as well, but like the part I'm mostly focusing on is predictive product, and hoping that those skills carry over to synthesis questions and other things like that, or like mechanism questions where I have to do a bunch of arrow pushing. So yeah, that's been my method so far, like, looking at a few discussion worksheets and then looking at the exam I previously took, but like the blank one that corresponds with those, I guess, like discussion worksheets or like the mechanisms I learned there and whatnot. It's almost 3 o'clock and I'm still awake. Actually, I just showered, that's why I'm in different clothes. In fact, I decided to dress up a little, if anything, because, I have the exam, now that's Monday, it's past midnight. I have the exam on what's not today, so at least, like, let me choose a struggle. Instead of having 2 struggles, let me just have 1 struggle. I tend to dress up a little better when I tend to have like exams, or you know, at least look good while not doing as good. But anyways, that's not the point. So just want to give y'all the update. Review session went great. And I was trying to look back at my grades to like have an estimate for what my grades could be for the end of this semester. I was comparing it to what it was last semester, because last semester when I took the first part of the organic chemistry sequence, I had a B. And then I started to look back at like the numerical part of it, like how close I was to a B plus, that kind of stuff. And I figured out that I was actually, oh, this is crazy, but I actually originally had a B minus, right about 5 points away from a B. So because I was on our grade border, the professors boosted my grade up to a B. Now it has me gasping, because like last semester, wait, how do I want to phrase this? This semester I'm not doing as well as I was doing last semester in terms of exams, at least because, you know, exams take up like a majority of the grade, overall grade. So it means that I'm most likely looking at a B minus next, and if anything, I thought I would either get a B or higher, because, you know, I wanted to show that uphill trend improvement, because, like, you know, it's like I already took the first course for organic chemistry last semester, so I have an idea of like how things going and whatnot. So like this semester, like I'm supposed to do better, but looking at like past grades and like the numerical grade and everything, B minus looks very much possible, which had me like low-key, I had to take a moment to like just breathe and everything after realizing that. Because like this whole time I thought that I was on track to like have about the same grade again, a B, or even higher for some reason, a B plus. So this one means it really boils down to the final. So since my exam is at 6 p.m, at this point I'm just gonna stay up and try and study as much as I can till I get like mentally tired before I choose to go to bed, until I actually do get like tired. But I'm so like, ugh. The fact that I thought I'll do better just to find out that I wouldn't, that there's only one more exam left, that's when I'll really like, you know, determine my grade. That has me upset. It's 4:30 a.m. and I can hear the birds chirping because it's so quiet outside. Mind you, I basically never hear the birds chirping because, you know, my college is in a city area, so, you know, busy, so more noise pollution, less hearing birds chirping. Whereas in my suburban town, I can hear the birds chirping like any time of the day. Because it's been woken me up before on some Disney princess type shit. But it's crazy how quiet it is. I'm finally hearing the birds chirping for like the first time here. Because I'm gonna go to bed soon, maybe around 5, I wanna say. Because right now I'm looking at like the practice final, like more so ease my mind a little.